So what we're going to do here is go through the process of adding additional Kotlin classes to handle a different data type using an existing project. Okay, so you can load up the project that was provided and load it up, and you can see some of the existing classes here. And make sure that the project can run. So you can run it, make sure it works. Okay. The next step would be to, as you're embarking on a brand new task, is to create a brand new branch for this work. So you would say something like feature like Bitcoin, something like that. So after you've created a brand new branch off of the main branch, you're going to start doing some of this work. So one way is to open up these classes and create another set of classes like this to handle the Bitcoin data objects that you were able to see on the website. Um, so if I were to, so if the website that I have. So I'm gonna sort of put in a question here on Copilot here. I'm gonna say workspace, create the create a set of Kotlin classes for Bitcoin that can um, contain the data from this website and make it make it um, look, it said behave similar to the pet, pet repository, uh, pet repository impl and update the the modules KT and the view model so that I can display some hard-coded values into the list. So this is a very long description, but you can write up something like this and Copilot can understand this and try its best to try to supply you the suggestions. So once you've got it set up, and then Copilot will respond in this way. So we're gonna look at the answer that Copilot provided. If you look at the top, starting from the top, just go step by step, okay? So here it says, go about in creating the data class for Bitcoin. So now that the Copilot has generated this response, you can sort of evaluate what exactly it has responded. And as your level of understanding Android and Kotlin increases, you can evaluate whether its responses is actually matches what you want. And as you can see here, it actually looked at the existing project, it looked at the existing packages, and it even went out to the internet and actually looked at the various fields that is coming back for each record and actually provided some of the data fields in the model to capture those values. So here you can just say click on the copy, and then it says here to create a data class for Bitcoin. So here, that's what we're going to do. So since we have the pet here, and it says here to put it into the data package. So we're going to say here, Kotlin create, and we're going to call this Bitcoin. And since it already provided, I copied into the clipboard the package name and the class definition, we're just going to erase all this and just paste. And we're just going to continue down. So here it says to create the Bitcoin repository interface. So if you look at this one here, this is also an interface. And we want to, it's even changed it to say get Bitcoins versus get pets. So we want to copy that, create a Bitcoin repository class. So I say Bitcoin repository, sorry, interface, right? We want to create an interface. And even though we're going to just overwrite it with this anyway, so we're just going to remove that and paste that there. Just going to continue down and so forth. And so what you're going to do is just continue going down through the recommendation that Copilot has generated, and you will then put this, you create the various Kotlin classes or interfaces that it suggests. And then here it even goes into what needs to be done for a separate view model for Bitcoin. And then it also will provide you how to update um, the the DI, which is this modules. So it will tell you what needs to be changed here. And then it says here, update your modules to include that new view model module. Okay. And we just keep on going until we can display some hard-coded values into Kotlin. So here we haven't actually gotten to the point of updating the UI yet. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, what we're going to do here is I'm going to pause the recording, create all these things, and then ask it the next set of questions. So I went ahead and took a look at the entire set of instructions that Copilot provided. So it wasn't completely accurate based on what I wanted it to do. So, for example, it made a couple of mistakes here in the repository. It was saying to do it in a separate, create a separate modules just for the Bitcoin repository. But what I did instead was just add a separate line in here for adding the Bitcoin repository. And then the other thing that I did was create the Bitcoin model as pretty much verbatim of what it was suggesting. And then here it says to update the module again, this one, but it said to do it in a slightly different way. But instead, what I just did was did it kind of a copy and paste of what was done here for the pets, and I just kind of duplicated it for the Bitcoin. And once I got that working, then I could actually skip this part because that is pretty much here. Sorry, just this code here. And that was pretty much all that we needed to do. And once we knew that I had added the Bitcoin repository impl, included it into the modules, and added the similar for the Bitcoin view model, then I knew I had enough. One more thing that I did was the output from Copilot only included one Bitcoin object in these hard-coded samples, and I just kind of went about and at least created 3 different hard-coded values for the Bitcoin. And once I got this up and compiled and running, just tested and verified, and it was fine. Now, the next part is to have it if we look at the code here and take a look at how the view of these hard-coded values are coming about, if you look at this and look at we want to be able to do a similar list for the Bitcoins, but not changing this one, but creating a separate one for Bitcoins. And we want to be able to display it inside of the main activity. So we're going to replace this one here with our Bitcoin list instead. Okay. So we're going to ask Copilot to help us. So it's like workspace, create a Bitcoin list that will display the contents of the Bitcoin repository and then replace the list being displayed in main activity from pets, it's the pet list to Bitcoin list. So here, we're just going to take a look at what Copilot suggests for us. Now, remember that this is still an AI tool, so it's not going to be 100% accurate. So it says here, create a Bitcoin list that displays the content from blah, blah. That's what I was instructing it. So it says, create a Bitcoin list, just like how we have a pet list here. Okay. So we're going to do that. Okay. Oh, one more thing that as a kind of a helper was that when you add, sometimes you copy and paste things into a module and like something like this. And then when you see, sorry, the one we just added, which was the Bitcoin view model. So one kind of keyboard shortcut is that when you see something like this in red, it means that the symbol is just not known inside of this Kotlin file. So when you see something like this, you can sort of just move your mouse cursor there and you'll see eventually something will pop up like this. You can click on this here and then it will automatically go about and including that symbol into this file. Okay, so let's go about in going back here and then going about and creating this list. You can see that it's saying to create it into the views package. Okay, so we're going to create that into the views package. We're going to call this Bitcoin list. And I just copy the whole content, delete that and paste it in here. And we don't see any errors. So go down and then we're going to update the main activity to use Bitcoin in Bitcoin list instead of pet list. Okay, so here we're going to go to the main activity, and the main activity it has it's suggesting something else than what I had intended. So we're going to maybe just take the piece that we really just need, which is this part here. We don't need to do exactly what Copilot is telling us. I'm going to remove this, paste it in here. Okay, it doesn't know what that is, so I'm going to move the mouse here and then click on import. And then here again, it doesn't know what this is. So I'm going to click on that. Let me take a look at. So got a little bit stuck on replacing the pet list with the Bitcoin list. And instead of just taking verbatim of what it's doing here, I'm going to do this. Just copy this, paste it here. And then everything else, I'm going to leave it as it is. And this, since it doesn't know what this object is, I'm going to do the import, and then we're going to try this out. I'm going to put this back inside the docked. So here, Okay, so kind of did a little quick bit of quick debugging, and I realized that that when I replaced that pet list with Bitcoin list, I actually only did it in the preview. That didn't really help in the simulator. So I put it here instead, and then run. Then I can see my Bitcoins, my at least the static values. So there's still more things to change in here, like pets and so forth, but that is can be done at a different kind of work level.